Kelly, how did you find carnivore?
Well, I am going to go kind of back before I discovered carnivore as growing up, 18 years, I had a dad that deal with secondhand smoking. Growing up as a kid in the 80s, the highly ultra processed foods, going in the grocery store, and you finding fruity pebbles or very colorful sugary soda or sugary cereal, snacks, treats, stuff like that. um, I was pretty much normal size up until probably maybe second grade, and I started gaining a lot of weight, had a lot of appetite, and pretty much most of my life I was overweight. Um, I hated smoking. I didn't want to have nothing to that, but with peer pressure, after I was out of high school, friends of mine or one of my friends tried to give me a cigarette, and I said no, no. Finally, I said, let's just go ahead, just to hit him quiet. Biggest mistake I'd done. I smoked for 9 years as a sugar addict, and how bad my addiction is. I got to almost 2 packs of cigarettes a day for 9 years, and then I was working in factories. I was in my career as maintenance and factory maintenance, working from 483 phase to injection molding robotics. And I had a slight little accident at work and did not realize that I nicked my shin. Well, I ended up doing a mold change in about 2004. I didn't realize that I had hydraulic oil soaked into a bandage, and also didn't realize that I was causing health issues from smoking, poor metabolic health, and the standard diet. And I developed gangrene, was in the hospital for 10 days, almost lost my right leg. Luckily, the gangrene did not get into my bone. Well, everything started healing. Then all of a sudden, I was having issues every year. Cellulitis infection. The open wound would heal, but then it opened right back up. And I had a doctor after I went to see him. He says, we can take you somewhere where you can get this fixed." And I'm like, "Well, I can't afford this right now," and I kind of ignored it. And so I took the cream medicine that they described, and then turn around, heal up over again. Finally, in 2007, when I'm at my heaviest, I was actually 400 pounds. I couldn't weigh myself. And I'm working third shift, and I am in the back where the press room is, and they have a scale. I want to know what my weight is. I can't weigh at home. Evidently the scale says I'm too big. I get on the scales, I'm 400 pounds. And I'm like, I got to do something. So, as we all do, we do our normal um, the standard diet, moderate, go on a diet. So I did that, and I lost some weight. I lost 40 pounds, but I could not get it down past 40 pounds. Then I turned around, had that same issue again, and I'm like, I had enough of this. I'm going to the doctor. Talk to the doctor. I said, I want to see a nutritionist. I want to see. No, I talked to a doctor about this issue where I have this infection. The scar's not healing right. And he knew exactly what he did. They sent me to a vein specialist. I had the varicose vein LASIK surgery. I went to the nutritionist. I dropped down weight, but I didn't get past 315 pounds. And then I stayed there pretty much on and off throughout the time. And then, I quit smoking after 9 years, but then I was stupid enough. I knew in the back of my mind, if I have just one cigarette, one this, it's all over. I'm grateful that I'm not a drug addict. I wasn't hooked on drugs. I started smoking again, but I ended up quitting a year later. Then I did the biggest mistake, or one of the biggest mistakes. This is where it really wrecked my health. And I was rather pay attention to my addiction than my health. And it really affected my marriage a little bit because it caused erectile dysfunction, and I didn't know what it was. I wanted to choose. There's no way choose doing it. And I kept on having this issue for a year. Finally, this is 2019. I went up on the internet and I said, I want to look. It's surely chewing tobacco is not going to cause this issue. When I saw that and it says, yes, it does, including the nicotine in tobacco causes narrowing to your blood vessels, including the ones into your genitals. My eyes got like really big. I'm like, I got to quit. I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to quit. kind of slowed down. I get off work. I'm heading home. I need something. So I stopped at the gas station, get an electrolyte like body armor or something like that. I got out of the truck. I took the spit bottle. I took the bottle, the can of chew, took the dip out of my mouth, and I threw it away. And I never touched it. But as time goes, I kind of did what my dad did. My dad quit smoking by using this called snus, SNUS, and it's a minute amount of nicotine. And I kind of just did too, and I was doing good until my mom calls. My dad has a stroke. My dad passed away, and I kind of picked up on that a little bit. And then also, I developed high blood pressure from the tobacco. But luckily, I had a doctor and I had to take care of this. So she put me on some blood pressure medicine. Then she also asked, there's this medicine called Fentanyl. It's a weight loss drug. I think it's they call it the safer Fin. I think that was the drug that was the weight loss. And that this was the replacement. So I tried that. I did lose 30 pounds. After I got the blood pressure under control, I lost some weight. And then she recommended she wanted to where it's not be hooked, like 3 months on, 1 month off, 3 months on. Well, COVID comes around and everything shut down. And so I had to meet with her because I needed a refill of the blood pressure medicine. And so she wanted to see me this was in April 2020, October. So I see her in October. Well, I was getting I was getting close to 400 pounds. I weighed myself August of 2020. And I'm like, I'm 385 pounds. I got to do something. So I remember I did some low carb in the past. So I said, no more. I can drink coffee black and plain. I can drink the tea plain. Got rid of the sweetener. I got rid of soda altogether, even the diet soda. I decided to do away with carbs, breads, sugars, and anything. I found I didn't want to do anything to do with any like Splenda or aspartame, stuff like that, because I know that was chemically poisoned. So I stuck with more of the erythritol, monk fruit sweetener, allulose, some of those kind of do that. So October comes around and I see the doctor. I've already lost 14 pounds just to get ready from the added sugar. So I told her I want to get back on that medicine. And so she says, what are you going to do different than you did last time? This is what I did. I cut all the carbs. I cut separate like potatoes and the vegetable starches, but like breads, pasta, stuff like that. I said, I'm done with that. I'm done with added sugar, stuff like that. So she put me on, lost 15 more pounds following month. But then it comes around November, December, I only lost maybe 2 pounds between 2 months. So it comes around. This is where I kind of got into my keto carnivore era. So this is New Year's of 2021. I'm in bed. I fell asleep. I woke up and I was on YouTube and this doctor come on and I'm like, who is this and what is he advertising? What's this quack doing? I mean, what is he selling? And then the video was 7 ways to boost your testosterone naturally. And I'm like, okay, is this going to be like Dr. Grundy with one of his long spewed commercial things? And then all of a sudden, he goes in and he's explaining 7 things naturally you can do to raise your testosterone naturally. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to this. This is actually a real doctor. It was Dr. Ken Berry. And so I'm like, okay, he actually gave free advice. So I'm going to watch some more. So I stayed up. I watched another video. Then I watched another video. And I watched another video. And then finally what made me decided to go the following day to start a low carb, ketovore, carnivore, whatever, because he was already carnivore, but he promotes paleo carnivore and stuff like that. And so I started with the following day because he says, why start Monday? Why everybody else does that? You start on Monday, you'll never make it. If you saw this video, start this morning. If you saw it tonight, start in the morning. So I started it the following day. I did intermittent fasting. I did like probably 18-6 or a 16-8 window. And actually, I kind of started carnivore because I just ate meat, and some cheese, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, I started losing weight and feeling better. Then I kind of saw Dr. Eric Berg, and he kind of has what they call high-fat, monoprotein, low-carb diet, kind of well-balanced. And I'm like, okay, I might do that. I'll do some greens and stuff like that, not knowing that plants have high toxins in them. And so I started that. and I saw Dr. Sten Ekberg. I think he's a holistic doctor out of Florida, and this is where I also discovered the seed oils, how bad they are, the plants, what plants to eat, what not to eat, and so I'm doing great. I'm starting to feel good. I still have, a hip issue. It was a little stiff, but I'm getting better. I'm lost almost that whole year. I lost almost 80 pounds. I got down to low 300s, but and I let stuff go on the property, and so I decided I'm gonna get this stuff done. I'm out here, I'm moving, running around. Comes to the fall, I'm trying to finish up what projects, and I start really good, but then I notice, and every time I walk up a hill or I'm walking, I notice, and I had this sharp kind of stabbing pain in my back of my hip, and I'm like, what in the world's going on? So I keep on continuing, but it progressively kind of got worse, and so 2022 comes around. I finally broke under 200 or 300. I'm sorry, 300. And I went to the doctor. I had my doctor currently, she, with the COVID, she didn't believe in COVID. So I had to pick a new doctor. So I had a new doctor and I continued and we, moved on from there. So as I'm getting ready to go on a mission trip and, this is where I slipped up, my first slip up. Went there, I was on the build, and one of the people I know, I said, "Hey, John, where'd you get those tamales?" He says, "Why don't you stop what you're doing, go to the other build site?" I ended up having 6 or 7 of them. End up, they had a donut. I ended up with Coca Cola. I got sick on the way home, and I lost 10 pounds, but I also kind of gained it back afterwards. And so I got back on the keto trail, and then this is where I discovered the keto breads, what I thought is keto breads, keto treats, all that stuff. That is horrible, and it's got a lot of the garbage in it. And it was just slowly gaining weight. And then I had to go take a couple trips, and those trips, wherever they chose to eat, that's where they want to eat. I end up gaining 20 pounds. I'm back already up. 2023 comes around and I'm doing okay, but I'm noticing that the hip is getting worse. I've started noticing I had a little bit of knee pain, and as I go, the weight come down. So I'm not coming down. So I decided I'm done with this medicine. I don't think it's working, and I don't think it's good for me. I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to go on my own. So I quit taking the phentermine altogether. But luckily, when I lost weight, the doctor, I was on 10 milligrams of blood pressure medicine. Summer of 2021, the doctor dropped me to 5 milligrams, and that's where I stayed. So I stayed on that, and so comes around 2023, I did the build. Then comes around 2024. This is where it is. This is where it's affecting my job. I'm relying on my maintenance tech. I went off on my third build on a mission trip back to Mexico. We went to Acuna instead of Juarez, and I was so discouraged on this because I couldn't be able to do what the others were doing. I was sitting around, I was hurting, I was in so much chronic pain that I'm like, I can't do this. I was so discouraged, not thinking about what the purpose of the trip was. I was thinking about my pain. So get home, I'm gaining weight slowly, and now when I'm eating the healthiest, I'm eating the greens. I'm eating like extra virgin. I made my own dressing. I had the high fatty meat, and I'm like slowly gaining weight. And here it comes around, and I'm getting really more discouraged. I'm starting to get depressed because every time I get on the scales, the scales go up. I'm hurting even more. Now I have severe plantar fasciitis in my left foot. If I sit for a long period of time, my left knee is hurting, and then the right hip is just so inflamed. I so I started kind of going back, and then I came up through there was Kerry Mann from Homestead How. And so I'm like, okay, the carnivore that he's on this carnivore diet, carnivore hills, this is crazy. So I'll watch him. And the video I watched, he had this big box of pills that he took from all of his past on his issues, and he just threw them behind him like, you mean you don't take all that stuff? I'm thinking, okay. So I watched another one, and that's how I found Bill Knott from Alaska and his amazing journey. I'm like, he lost 200 pounds, and he is on carnivore, okay. And I kept on, found Lily Kane. So I'm thinking, man, this carnivore thing, this is crazy. Just eating meat, no way. You know, you got to have vegetables and stuff. So I come around. This was where I started making this decision. So I'm July 26th. I remember the day because it's my carniversary date. We had a flood in this apartment 2 weeks prior from rain, and I decided I'm going to replace the baseboards. The flooring got damaged by the contractors that are trying to dry it, so we need the floor replaced. And then so I decided to gonna rip up the baseboards because these baseboards they soak up water. But I was waiting for my manager at this time, and I said, "Forget it. I'm going home. I don't know how we're going to get. This is what I want to do." So I talked to him. I told him, "Can you come into the apartment?" Told him what I want to do. I don't know how we're going to get him done, but we'll get him done no matter what. I'm thinking it's going to take, for me, it's hurting 2, 3 days because I'm going to have to sit and relax because I can't be able to do this. Get on my knees. It's going to hurt. I'm going to be extremely sore. And I told him, I said, I got to go home. I'm going home and I'm going to relax because all summer, me and my daughter fought because all I wanted to do was go home and sit in the chair and relax because she wanted to get out and do stuff because she was getting bored. So that day I decided, well, if people are curing or healing on carnivore, let me give this a shot. So I decided, okay, let's just do it. I'm going to try this today. I was 338 pounds, 300, almost 340, 338. I decided to, I went to McDonald's and I just went and got some burger patties, 6 burger patties. I ate those. By the end of the day, even though I was kind of relaxed, held out, and I was starting to feel a little better. So sometimes the pain was subsiding. So I get home. I decided, okay, I'm hungry. Let's do this. I found I needed to use up 2.5 pounds of ground beef. I got 4 eggs out over medium, over easy, and I decided to do 4 or 5 strips of bacon. Ate the whole thing. I was till I was stuffed, and it was good. So I'm like, okay, usually you don't want to weigh. You want to weigh, give yourself a week or two to weigh or a month. I'm like, I'm just going to kind of go. I know all this food I ate, I'm going to gain weight. I get on the scales and all of a sudden I lost 4 pounds. I'm like, what? That ain't right. I ate all this food and I ate 4 pounds. Okay, let's give it a try today. Decided, well, I wasn't hungry and I ended up eating 3 pork steaks. That was all I ate for one meal. I'm like, okay, let's give it another day. I'll weigh myself. Noticing I dropped another weight. I went from 334 down to 329. I'm like, whoa. And I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, because I'm relaxing. Went to church, got back home, did some stuff I needed to do. Here comes Monday. I'm like, oh, the dreaded Monday. So I decided to give another weigh, and I like, wow, I'm dropping weight. And I'm noticing I'm feeling a little better, and I notice I'm a little happier. Went to work, made it through the day. So next day I decided I'm going to go. This is when we're going to put the baseboards in. The flooring's installed. Let's put the baseboards in. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to take all day because I'm going to have to get up. I'm going to have to sit, rest, and all this. Now started at 9 a.m. that morning, and by noon we had every baseboard in, caulked in place. The saw from the back to the shop, and I was feeling good. And I'm up and down on my knees and stuff like that, and I'm feeling good. Like towards the end of the day, I'm like, I am a little pain, but I'm great. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this commit. I'm gonna commit to 30 days. So I continue on that carnivore. Also, since I've been with the company for a long time, they do vacation packages for our 5 years and every fifth anniversary. So I went to Nashville. I took my daughter to Nashville, and because I was dreading, I wanted to see Grand Ole Opry show, I want to see the Ryman and all that, but I'm like, I'm gonna dread this. We walked around Nashville, half of downtown Nashville, almost all day, and I had very little pain. I went the next day. We went over to the Grand Ole Opry. My daughter wanted to see. We saw the backstage or the backstage tour of the Grand Ole Opry, and then we went over to the mall. She wanted to go see a Boot Barn. I'm like, okay. We walked all over this mall to find it. We finally found it, and then I'm like, we're hungry. Let's find some meat. Found a place that sold meat, and I had very mild discomfort, and I'm wearing boots, walking around this mall wearing boots, and I just kept on going. I'm like, I really like this. I'm like, I think I want to stick with this carnivore diet because I'm noticing something's different, but I'm still going to give it 30 days. I get back, and as I'm doing another week at work, and then I'm like, I'm starting to feel phenomenal, and I'm noticing that I'm sleeping better, and I have better clarity, and I'm not wanting to sit around as much. And so I told my tech, his name's Joe. I said, Joe, I got to share my story. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I'm thinking I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. He said, do it. So I bought a camera and all that, and I don't know how I'm gonna start this. And I didn't realize that all I had to do was just start with my phone. So I'm like, finally decided to sit down, took my lawn chair, sit in my yard, took the phone with the tripod, and I just said, this is why I went carnivore, why I had some mistakes and stuff, and this is why I'm doing it. And I think I remember said, one of these days I want to meet Carrie Mann. I wanted to meet Dr. Barry, which I got to meet Carrie Mann just a few weeks ago at his meetup. And so after I got done, I posted the video, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this YouTube thing is going to work. I don't like it. I didn't like the video. I just discouraged and walked away. But then something told me, said, one case that one person that you can relate to, one case they saw that video and your story just starting helped. So I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I kind of started another video, did another video, and finally I didn't know which direction to go, so I kind of just stick with what my journey was, the carnivore. I did a couple projects where projects that I held off, and I said I'm going to share with y'all what I'm doing here and how I'm feeling much better now. I can get these projects done, and now as I'm coming forward, I went on my fifth build in December on the mission trip, and I can actually be able to help out. I was very cheerful, and I noticing that I'm already below 200 or 300 pounds. I'm sorry, 300 pounds, and I'm like, I can get on, I can sleep, I can be able to move, no problem. And so each day goes by, and I kept on losing weight, and the weight has slowed down, but I noticing that the chronic inflammation was each day going away. I'm noticing that the plantar fasciitis, I can feel it. I can feel the pain, but it was bearable. And so as time goes, it slowly just disappeared and come around. That's when I met Kerry Mann through one of his open mic nights, and I told him my goal is I want to go see it. I want to go to a meetup, and hopefully in a year I like to try to put one together to have one in my area or in Missouri. And so on my carniversary day they had the Montello meetup at the Montello Theater there in Montello, Wisconsin. And I'm like, I'm going. I asked my daughter, I asked my mom, can I use your vehicle, and I asked my daughter, can I go? And they said absolutely. And I had a blast. On my carniversary date, I got to go to a meetup, and I had no issues, no pain. And now I am now 376 days into it, and it is no chronic inflammation. And now, as I'm going to year number 2 on carnivore, my goal is I'm doing mind over body. I'm going to do a little long term fast, kind of do some of that. And then my body, to get it mobile again, I want to be able to stretch. I want to get my hip mobile. I want to be able to reduce the actual stiffness. I have a little stiffness when I get up every morning, but I want to reduce that. And the only way to do it is the other part of your body healing, actually doing physical workout, stuff like that, and movements and stretches.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. So at this stage, your your pain is pretty much gone. It's just like there's some, like with the plantar fasciitis, it's there, but it doesn't cause you pain.
No, not at all. Like the hip, because of the stiffness and not being worked and some weak muscles. Yeah, I walk and I kind of feel it, but every time I do a stretch or I do some strengthening squats and stuff like that, it feels a lot better and opens up. And like yesterday, I goofed up, didn't realize that there was an apartment that needed to be fully painted. I'm like, well, guess what? We're going to be doing it, cut and roll. And usually I'd be in pain, but when this was a new move, and my body says, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, on there. Usually it would probably took me all day or all day to do this, but we had it done like in 4 hours. Cut the walls, cut and roll, the doors painted, the trim painted, and a lot of times I was on my hands and knees crawling around, and usually I'm like getting up and I have to like stretch or pop the back to pop and stuff like that. I only had to do that twice. So it's pretty amazing.
That's fantastic, and I think one of the things is that the longer you do carnivore, the more and more your feeling of wanting to do those manual kind of labor intensive tasks gets, like
Yeah.
you're actually happy to get into it and start working on those things, whereas before you would have
And
been like, oh no, I don't want to do this.
yeah, that's the way I feel. I get up in the morning. I may start. The first thing I do is when I get up out of bed, I kind of get my ankles moving, and then once I get to that point, I just start moving, and wouldn't be take like maybe 10 minutes, and I'm walking pretty good throughout the house. And then throughout the day, I will do squats. I will do anything that will help strengthen and stretching muscles like my hip flexors, stuff like that. And I know, like last week, I started the squat where I would go down and I held that a count of 10. And I did that throughout the day. And now this week, I can do a count of 30 holding and not worrying about the issue.
That's awesome. So at this point now, you're able to use your own scale at home, right? You don't have to use the
Oh
one at
yeah,
work.
I yeah no no I had a scale that weighs to up to someone 400 or 500 pounds, but I actually as time goes I learned that when my weight's slowing down, the weight loss is slowing down because the body is catching up, the body's doing the healing process. And yeah, my inches was still coming off, and they are still coming off. The weight is slowly coming down. I'm 70 pounds down now. I'm about between 270 to 268 to 270. That's where I go. And at the beginning of this year, I was 280 something. And a year ago, I was in my 300s. And I hit a huge milestone just recently. I noticing that I went from a size 40, almost 46, 44 waist. I still wear my 44 waist shorts I do at work because they still fit. I'm not like till I'm done with this weight loss. I will wear these throughout the year. They manage to work. They don't look too big on me, so I'm like it's good because this time last year I'm gonna have to go with bigger shorts. And but I was down to a 40 waist and noticing my 40 waist jeans were getting too big. So I'm like, I'm not buying any more. I'm going with 38. So I bought two pairs of 38s. Needless to say, I have hit the milestone where I am now officially down in the 30 waist range, 38 waist. I have not been 38 waist since 1992-93 school year when I was going into a freshman in high school.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. And sorry, just for context, how tall are you?
I am 6'3".
6'3". Okay. Um, so you're quite tall, so I guess it's easier for the weight to creep up on you when it was
Oh
creeping
yeah.
up before,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh exactly.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, so what is do you have a goal weight? Are you just happy to hover around 260?
I'm thinking I'm getting close to my goal weight. I like to see if I can get down farther as I can. I know they say, oh, for someone that's 6'1" to 6'3", we should be around between 170 to 200 pounds. I don't know. I think everybody's got a different body structure. Some of us may have the same bone structure, but it just varies. I know I have a smart scale, and a lot of times when I weigh, I have a fat free mass of or fat or a muscle mass of 171 pounds, but that's all. And bones is maybe around 9 pounds, and then of course you add your skin and all that. So I mean, maybe I may go down to 200, but I'm going to go far as I can. And if it's 250, great. It's better than where I was. If it's 220, fantastic. And if I can get down to that 200 to 205 range, I'm be fine with that.
And the most important thing is you're feeling good, right?
Yeah, I feel fantastic.
Yeah. And your story is the kind of one that can give a lot of people hope because it's very relatable because many of us get into that situation where we feel like, okay, we start losing a bit of weight, we're losing a bit of weight, and then, we think we're going on the right track, and then it starts coming back on again, and it's like, I just can't do anything right. I can't win at this.
Yeah, I
And
did. Yeah,
yeah, to hear that there is a way that you can do this is can give a lot of people hope.
yeah, and that's why I'm hoping I can share my story. And that's one thing about second year carnivore is I want to be more involved. I want to share my story. I want to learn more about live streaming, StreamYard, or a streaming service because I want to eventually interview, learn how to do all this stuff because I'm starting to get. That's one thing about having this, being on carnivore, the clarity, the healing, you feel more confident and you want to be able to share that story. And that's why at the end of my videos I make, I always say, let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, and encourage and support one another. Now, most of the time, I will also share some scriptures and share, and it's my thought, and I always have the words on there to someone follow along because it's like what speaks to me in the Bible may not speak the same to you, and that's why I want to at least share that. So I share my faith also into that as well.
Right. Um, so on your journey now, you said you got down to 5 milligrams of the blood pressure medication.
Matter
Have
of
you
fact,
given that up?
last fall when I saw my doctor, I did a trial where my blood pressure, and I took the blood pressure monitor with me to work, and throughout the day I noticed it. But then I also kind of noticed, and it's probably just because it's normal. I'm like, I noticed my heart rate is a little higher than I want. So I told him, I said, how about, because I said I want to get off this. I told him I'm getting off this blood pressure medicine. I want off of it. He says it's only up to you. You got some good blood pressure here. And I said, how about this? Why don't we take this down to 2.5? Let's review this in the spring. And he said, sounds good. We kind of did that. So I kind of took it. So in June, I decided to take the blood pressure medicine with me everywhere I go, just in case. But I have not been taking blood pressure medicine since June. I'm not taking it no more. I've been checking my blood pressure. Like I just checked it before I come on to this interview. And I have to look. I record everything. That's one thing. It's very important to journal. And it was 118 over 67 with a pulse rate of 75. And I was just moving around right before that.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Again, that's just another thing that can make people feel hopeful. I've been on this blood pressure medication all my life. There is actually hope I can get off it.
Exactly. And that's one thing, the beautiful thing about this carnivore diet, you kind of, a time to time, I'm probably maybe 98% carnivore, 98, 99. I do drink coffee. Um, Time to time, I'm not doing any more raising vegetables, raising a garden, but I have a strawberry bed out back. Time to time, I had a few strawberries in season. um, I do the Robert Kiltz's ice cream recipe. So I love dairy, but I have to watch how I eat dairy because if I eat too much, it's just like I have issues like weight gain and stuff like that. But so I decided to I moderate that, and if I feel I have too much, not going to eat it. But I primarily my diet is pretty much beef, eggs, bacon, butter, and then like I'm learning to eat when I fix the burger patties, I'll fix those for lunch. I'll put them in my air fryer. It's my best friend. I can fix everything in that thing. And so what I do is when I'm done, I won't heat the burger patties up. I'll put them in a container. I will dump all the grease and all that, the protein that comes out of that when it's cooking. I'll let that cook a little bit longer, so because it kind of give it like a little crisp. I'll pour that in there, and I'll eat the burger patties cold, like that fat is like a frosting, and I'll eat that. And it may have some mustard now and then, but it's amazing that that all he had to do was just eat meat, and we can heal, we can lose weight, we can overcome diseases, overcome depression.
Right. Yeah. So are you eating 3 times a day?
I eat mostly 2 times a day.
Mm.
Sometimes I only eat one. It just depends on how I feel. Um, Maybe I'll probably eat one time today. I may eat, after this we're done with this interview.
Right. And what kind of reaction have you had? I'm sure your daughter's happy to see you're losing weight and feeling better.
She is. She's noticing the change and stuff, she's not carnivore, and I hate to be, here I am. I feel like I'm a hypocrite because I'm on carnivore, I'm healing and all this, and she's not. But I know as 15, a sophomore in high school, peer pressure. You see it in the school where they award them. Oh, award you with this, award you with that. Oh, how about a candy bar? I mean, I seen it at church where the youth group, and I seen it where, hey, you answer a Bible question. Hey, here's a candy bar, and I'm like, and I feel, it's like I feel like I'm a hypocrite, but I can't. All I can do is encourage. She's thought about it a few times, and I know there's some times that she will just eat carnivore with me, and then other times that she doesn't. But I'm hoping through that she sees that, and she sees the journey, and sees me a lot more active and getting involved with her. She might do it, and I'm hoping my older daughter eventually catches on. I know I'm hoping that she does, because I know she has some issues with some health, and I know she's slowly gaining weight. I'm like, this is just me all over again, as I'm watching her, and I'm noticing now she's smoking, and I'm like, Katie, gosh, you got to quit. That's not good. I mean, it ruined my health, but I can't. All I can do is encourage, and so I'm hoping that I can be a huge encourager. And then I had several. There's some. I have to reach out to another lady in my area. She asked, "How can you help a girl out get on carnivore diet?" And I had a friend of mine that just lives down the road. She had bariatric surgery, and she asked about it. So I use my Facebook platform. Every time I have a video, I make a video, I put it on there. Every time I saw something that is encouraging, I put it on there. But I also had the other way around. I had a cousin of mine says, "Oh no, I heard that you can't be on that for a long time." And I'm like, Chuck, I remember I had people that was very encouraging. They were very amazed. And they actually follow me. And then I have some, like, I have a cousin, his name's Chuck. He's like, "Oh no, I heard about carnivore. You supposed to get off. That's bad for you." And I'm like, Chuck, it's no, it's not. I'm like, if it is, I wouldn't be sitting here. It would hurt me. And I was this time. It was like 6 months in carnivore.
Mm. Yeah. And it's, if it was so bad, why would you feel so good?
Yeah, that's the thing about it. If saturated fat was the harm this whole time, why all the way to the beginning of time? I know a certain beginning, the very very beginning time, how I believe, and I don't think it was a very long, that the very first humans that were created actually probably ate fruits and stuff. But we also had a perfect world, no death, no diseases. When we had death was brought, the fall of sin and all that, and then everything changed. I think our the plants got the lectins, the poisons, the defensins. What animals plus us became more, meat eaters, and we thrive on fat. And even throughout the Bible, it said that even they had the first recorded murder. It was between two brothers, Cain and Abel, and one. I'm gonna put it to taster. Abel was a rancher. Cain was a crop farmer. They wanted to present God with an offering of their crops and their goods. Abel brought his best ribeye steaks from his prime beef that he raised. And of course, here comes Kane. He did some roasted ears and some soybeans and some tofu and stuff. And God favored Abel's over Cain, and Cain got jealous, killed Abel. So, and then even over time, you can even see that after the flood story. You can eat meat.
So at this stage, it's carnivore all the way for you?
Yes, carnivore all the way. And I'm I may eat maybe an avocado time to time, or if my daughter wants, say they want Mexican, we go to the Mexican restaurant. I make sure that it's not the steak. They have ribeye steaks there. If it's a great price, I'll go ahead and buy it and have that. And I'll say I don't want the fries. I just want this. I may get some guacamole. I bring my own pork rinds in. I'm the weird one in my area. You'll see me have my pork rinds, or I'll have something else, or like go to like Wendy's. I'll bring my own homemade carnivore buns, my homemade carnivore mayo. I'll bring that in, and I'll be the weird one. And I don't care because I want to make sure that I'm not eating anything that will hinder my weight loss and hinder my healing and cause me to say, okay, I'm just going to go backwards, and then have to start all over again.
So if one of your friends said, "Okay, Kelly, I'm going to do it. 30 days. I'll give it a try and see how I benefit." What advice or tips would you give them for starting carnivore to maximize their chances of success?
First thing I would do is give them some, say, do your research. Here, I'd say, do not go online. Do not go to the Mayo Clinic website or WebMD. I'm like, go, here's some videos, Dr. Ken Berry, um, few others, Dr. Robert Kiltz. I'll tell them, I said, do your research. Go, I give them some few channels, hear the success stories. Then I'll say, find you a community, find that support. I'll tell them, I said, I'm part of Healing Humanity. That is $30 a month. But if you can't afford that, go to Facebook. There's several. I'm part of Carnivore Quest. Larry Cass and Cassie Bergquist. They have a support community. Dr. Kiltz has Kiltz Mighty Tribe. It's free. I think accountability is very important. And so I tell them that, and I'm like, start it with simple beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That's simple. And I said, give it 30 days, commit to 30 days, and see how you feel from there. And I also will say, make sure what is your why. And sometimes when we have multiple whys, but like I had kind of multiple whys, but my primary why I went carnivore is because of chronic inflammation.
Yeah, nice advice. The community is definitely an important part of it. Yeah. Yeah. So Kelly, if people want to find you on YouTube, where should they go?
They go to Broken Carnivore. That's my YouTube channel. And if they want to find me on Facebook, I am under Kelly Deweese, Kelly, capital D-E, capital W-E-E-S-E. That's my name under Facebook. If they find that, I do share some stuff on Facebook as well. So yeah, my primarily is YouTube. So if they go to Broken Carnivore, they can see all of my videos.
No worries. Well, I'll link to both of those in the show notes. Kelly, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to share it.